Balk the teachers union. That's why the kids were locked out of school for so long. Joe Biden is in the pocket of the teachers union, and so is Kamala Harris. That's why they fought school openings when he came in there. When they had that in there. Biden came into office and he brought in the teacher union to be able to do all these different things to try to keep the schools closed. So the Democratic
those are facts. They're just simple facts. The fact that your greatest contribution, Ron, to this debate is shooting people with backpacks.
I don't mind.
That's so inhumane.
I don't mind him lying to me. I don't mind Gavin lying to me, but I do mind him lying to you. He is sitting there saying that Joe Biden is willing to solve this problem. Is there anybody out there that actually believes this? Joe Biden created this problem. So if he's willing to lie to you about that, you know he's lying to you about all these other facts and figures, about all this other stuff. He's just throwing stuff out to see what sticks against the wall. This is a slick, slippery politician whose state is failing. People are leaving his state, and he's trying to run interference for his failure.
We've got to take our question. We've got to take our second. We've got to take our.
It's Kamala. How dare you? It's Kamala.
I mean, it's you know, there's tape of her saying it both ways, as Tucker aired many times. You know, so I mean, the guy was left with nothing at the end of the day. You know, Newsom there. It's funny because about halfway through the debate, you could see, and I know Newsom better than most people, not know him personally, but I'm saying as living in California for so many years. Some people may have just been exposed to him for the first time. You know what I mean? So they may not know how oily the cat is. I mean, but right,
dude,
Eric?
Dude, lies flow off his tongue like honey.
I know.
I mean, literally, you could see him playing like Stephen King's Flag from The Stand. He's borderline like a devil figure. I mean, I know. I actually find it a little spooky. I have never seen anybody.
Greed, for the lack of a better word, is good. I mean, the guy's Gordon Gekko out of Wall Street. You're talking about Michael Douglas. He's Gordon Gekko. I mean, the guy is so oily, Eric.
But he just lies. I mean, what I'm saying is there's no stuttering, no hesitation, no anything. It would be very difficult doing body language analysis on it because he's just it's like, I don't know if something's true or a lie, and that's what makes him scary is there are probably people who are believing half of what he's saying.
Well, at one point he mentioned PolitiFact. You know, it's gonna be fun tomorrow when PolitiFact comes out, and then DeSantis later in the debate mentions liberal PolitiFact as your ally. So PolitiFact did enter the debate last night. But yeah, we're kind of used to it out here. It's just anything that comes out of his mouth is just not believable. He just wings it. Obviously, his cocaine face was in full bore last night, twitching, and he really can't seem to pacify his own face for the camera. There just seems to be a lot of Tourette's-like twitching going on, and he does have a history of being in that world. So I don't think I'm talking out of school with that cat.
I did like. I didn't watch all of it because I just couldn't.
Oh, I watched all of it because you're not strong enough. I watched the whole thing.
You are correct, but I did like DeSantis when he pulled out the poop map.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. That was well done. Especially, I don't know why he didn't even say in that one though when he talked about San Francisco. Later on, he figured out to tag Newsom to it, but he just said your city. Now you're spreading into your whole state. The poop map. Yeah,
well, I mean, there was a lot of things to say about it, but my favorite, as we were sitting there watching this, and Newsom said that big oil is going after the state of California. I said for the 50th time to the people watching, I said, why do they pick on the state of California, big oil, for oil prices? Why don't they go after Alabama, Nevada, and the surrounding states? If they're that greedy, why don't they gouge the other states? And I've been saying this for goes back for years since he started this campaign. And DeSantis, of course, I said a retard could figure this out. And DeSantis, obviously a borderline retard, figured it out moments later and said the same thing. Why would they simply go after California? I mean, it's just so insanely obvious, the retort by any opponent to that statement by him and his attack on big oil now, like he's going to take down the bullies. But then they had the bully exchange where DeSantis accused him of being a liberal bully, which was a great one, for the scolding and everything else. And then he said, "No, you're a bully," and he said, "No, you're a bully," and I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and it was one thing I noticed really early on. I thought it was very weird that Hannity introduced Gavin Newsom as the governor from the great state of California, and Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida.
Well,
and I just said it was like, oh, wait, what?
It was obviously a lopsided, debate in terms of the normal stuff that we're used to, with his 22 MSNBC people and somebody from Univision and Spanish stations going on. But I mean, Hannity kind of stayed out of it. To his credit, they put up some stats, and he kind of tried to make him focus on the stats they put up, to no avail. Slick Willie was not buying it. And anyway, the point of the matter was, there's 2 points I wanted to make. Halfway through the debate, I noticed a subtle change in the demeanor of the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and the face went from, why did I do this? That was the face. It was subtle, but I caught it. He went, "Oh, Jesus, I'm getting my ass kicked over here. This is what a mistake." And you could see it like halfway, 3/4 of the way through, a little bit past the halfway mark. He realized this was a mistake. And then he went on cruise control for the rest of the debate, But I mean, wow, it was wildly entertaining. But again, that's the micro look at it. From the macro look at it, this is Fox's attempt to undermine Donald Trump. So there's the micro inside baseball, and then there's the 10,000-foot view from above, trying to resurrect DeSantis and to not to help Newsom at all, but it undermines Biden a little bit by putting this guy up on the stage, having Hannity and Fox do this in Georgia. It was a phony mock presidential debate, or maybe at the best, if you want to spin it, a vice presidential debate, if that makes any sense, which in theory, it could be. I don't know if obviously Trump's looking. I don't think Biden's looking, but nevertheless, that was the best spin you could put on it. Was that
they framed it cleverly, though. That was a clever framing, saying this is a red state versus blue state debate.
Right.
Okay, because again, I still think it's the most pointless debate in the world.
Yeah.
Even more so than the vice presidential debates that we've seen going on. The DeSantis is also in.
Well, the Fox presidential debates, I haven't watched one of them. I haven't watched 1 minute of any of those debates. I could care less. I don't care who's doing what position they're in. If Nikki Haley is going to be the next president of the United States, all of it ends in 45 days. No matter what Fox does, there's no way spinning 45-point loss after 45-point loss in the upcoming primaries to Trump. It's going to be very difficult. Fox will try to find a way to spin it, but DeSantis will lose by 50 points. Nikki Haley will lose by 50 points. They will all lose by 50 points. And then Fox is going to have egg on their face for having done this for over 6 months. It all ends because the people themselves are going to decide who is going to be on the debate stage. Not Fox, not Rupert Murdoch, not Sean Hannity and the CIA, not DeSantis. The waste of money is, of course, something I've been blathering on about for a year, of political money being finite. People now endorsing DeSantis, desperate Hail Marys by the Wall Street Journal. Newsom has a war chest. He can spend it any way he wants. It's an absentee governor in the state of California. We're going into the toilet here, which is fine because they can hang that rope around Biden's neck if they need another rope. I don't know if they do, but if Biden does need hanging like in The Unforgiven, which would be a great scenario, you can hang the state of California around his neck, because that's the model of what they're trying to create federally. I mean, DeSantis looked like he was in better shape debating, which he has been doing. And to be honest with you, Newsom has given better debate performances. He looked like he was out of shape.
Okay, well, a couple things. One, I don't know if you've ever checked it out, but when you get a chance, there is a interview with Adam Carolla where he corners Gavin Newsom badly. It is really, really pretty good. So it's from a few years ago on his show, and it's worth checking out. It's when he was lieutenant governor.
Right.
So
well, there's a great one. Sorry, Eric and I both have colds, so we're kind of winging it today. I'm on the end of a week of this, but Eric's just is new to it. Okay, there's a great interview when he's mayor of San Francisco, where a local reporter who's his arch nemesis asks him about some incident, some drunk driving crash or whatever, and then he, at the end of the interview, asks him about his own drinking and going to rehab, and Newsom just walks away. And as he's walking away, which is what he does, he yells things over his shoulder all the way down the steps. Tell him to send a different reporter next time. You're never getting anything out of me with your same claptrap. And all the way down the stairs to the limo, simply because he asked him about going to rehab and drinking. He's got a drug and alcohol problem. He always has. He left rehab early when he was in rehab in San Francisco years ago. He refused to answer questions. He gets extremely thin-skinned to reporters, extremely thin-skinned, cannot suffer being questioned by anybody. And it's either he's a dry drunk at this point, or it's just cocaine abuse, in my humble opinion.
God, I'd love to see a Ducey on him.
Yeah, well, Ducey will eventually get to him at some point.
Because
Ducey's career, because neither one of them is going away.
Oh, no. No, definitely not. Question for you. Okay, you were saying 45 days. So do you think Republicans will finally give it up in Iowa, or are they going to make it to South Carolina before they say, okay, it's Trump, we're done?
Well, I think one by one, they'll quietly go away. That's what they're going to do, tuck their tails between their legs and go away. And everyone will say, what was that about? All that waste of millions and millions of political dollars that should have and would have gone to Trump to defeat one of the darkest Nazi regimes in history. These people will have to live with themselves for having done this. These pieces of shit will have to live with themselves for taking the moment of the spotlight. And look, Trump's got a lot of flaws. This is not hero worship. I'm not a MAGA person. I'm a populist. You know, this is where it's coming from. The pragmatic nature of this election is an end of the Republic election. And I said this yesterday on Greg's show out of Alabama, where I urge the people of Alabama to not sit on their fat asses and vote for Trump in a red state. It's not going to help anybody. I urge them strongly, in some Brooklyn words, to get off their fat asses and go to a purple state and help us in the streets of those states. That being maybe Wisconsin, maybe it'll be Pennsylvania, maybe it'll be Colorado. I'm going to do the same thing. You can't just phone it in from a red state, people. That's not going to cut it this year, okay? This is the last election that we're ever going to have unless we win this thing, because they are going to clamp down after this to end any sort of democracy. And you've seen what they've done for 4 years. You've seen how they've handled you, the Catholics, the people who are from January 6th. I mean, how much more evidence do you need to get you off your couch? So that being said, you're not allowed to just phone it in and vote from a red state anymore. You got to actually do something. I'm sorry. Unless you don't give a shit, unless you don't care about America, you don't care about the United States, or you're just one of these armchair quarterbacks who likes to complain saying, I never liked Trump anyway. He had different hair than I liked, or whatever bullshit story you come up with. The big story today, obviously, Eric and I talking before the show, is the voting out of Congress with 77 Republicans of George Santos out of Long Island, first in American history. Eric and I were discussing this. Nobody's ever been voted out without a trial, without criminal trial, without being convicted. It's never happened in American history. I read the FBI report. There's a lot of wordy blathering. I know you don't like Santos. I get it, Debbie, wherever you are. It's not about liking Santos or Santos lying. It's about a Republican being expelled from the House of Representatives for the first time in American history without having his day in court. I know that's hard for people to understand, but Santos, for better or for worse, whatever his crimes were of using somebody's credit card and saying he's Jewish, there are worse people that we've seen who are currently there doing things that are far more outrageous than what George Santos has done in the past year and a half.
Yeah, there are 3 ways to be voted out of Congress now that have been shown. You could have participated in the Civil War as a Confederate. They got tossed.
Right.
You could be convicted of a crime. They got tossed. Or you could be George Santos.
Well, I think George Santos is, they're not going to stop. They're going to go from Matt Gaetz. They're going to go from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're going to vote. The 77 Republicans need to be primaried who did this, because they're going to vote to get rid of the other MAGA people. And then what are you going to say? We're all George Santos today, people.
Yeah, and by the way,
we are.
If he was convicted, then yes, vote him
Absolutely,
up.
of course,
no problem.
of course.
I just want to clarify that we're not saying George Santos is a great guy.
I'm not in love with George Santos.
God no.
Right. What I'm saying, and the people of Long Island, what he represents out there, it's a red area, and I'm sure they'll put a Republican in there. He's not going to be a MAGA Republican. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be some other cat who's a machine politician in the special election runoff, and then in November they'll have a free, open election if there is an election anymore. So the point of the matter is, when you look at the FBI recommendation, the FBI essentially removed George Santos from Congress. That's where they are. The FBI can now write a report, and I know how much we depend on the FBI for veracity and honesty these days. They could simply write a report, have this vote for any single person tomorrow, and have them voted out of Congress. And now they're, I think, 2-3 seats away, the Democrats, from taking control of Congress. So that's what the Santos thing did. If we had a big lead of 15 to 25 seats, it wouldn't really matter. But when you have a 3-seat lead and 77 members of your freaking party vote to expel the guy, they couldn't even get a censure on Rashida Tlaib to stick in the House, right? They couldn't even get that to stick. And here they vote straight up 77 Republicans whose names we'll put on locals so people will remember who these guys are. This is not a minor day in American history. The reason it's done on a Friday is it's a news dump Friday late in the day, trying to get this story to disappear. They want to have this precedent set that they could vote anyone out of Congress they don't like, who's not been convicted of a crime in a court of law.
Yeah, and also, only Republicans that go along with this shit. Now, you've been a Democrat much of your life. If he was a Democrat, he would still be in office.
Dude, you'd have to murder somebody in Times Square and then be on appeal. But there is some good news. There was an appeal case today of a person who is now going to jail.
Yeah.
Breaking news out of Chicago, Jesse Smollett headed back to jail after conviction upheld by appeals court in hate crime hoax. So there is some minor justice. Yeah, it's a wonderful day for that. And I showed Eric, there's another article about the Palestinian Jesse Smollett. I forget what state it was in, but he faked an injury, said they tried to run him over with a car, yelled hate stuff out the window of the car. He was arrested today, made the whole thing up, said he was injured by the anti-Palestinian forces. And here he is, the Ohio man, also, I think, down by Youngstown, arrested for allegedly lying. It's more than lying. He's in a neck brace. The whole thing was a phony Jesse Smollett, exactly, except Palestinian in nature. So hopefully he'll be in a cell, and they could talk, from cells. Obviously, this guy's going to be in jail in Ohio, and Smollett will be in Illinois. But what is going on in the Midwest with these things?
Oh, it's been going on for a while. I've interviewed and have talked to Dr. Will Riley a couple times. He wrote the book Hate Crime Hoax.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's a professor down south somewhere.
In Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. Well, that's down south.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's
south of New York. But
but my definition of south is what side you were on in the Civil War. I've never used any other definition.
Kentucky was on the north.
Right. So Kentucky is like a state that...
It's a weird one.
Yeah, it's in the middle. Yeah. I think Elvis and his twin brother were from Kentucky, and when they fought each other in the Civil War Elvis movie.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they fought for the North. Kentucky and Ohio are kind of tied in with each other a good bit. Good book. He really breaks down all of them. It's from a few years back, but it's weird because it seems like all the hate crime hoaxes are, the big ones, and it's, always going one direction, or it's cops. I don't know what it is, but there
What do
have
you mean
been
by cops? What?
there's been a few cops who, like, supposedly got a Starbucks cup saying "Die Pig Die."
Oh, those are phony too. You mean those are really?
Sadly, some of those.
Oh,
are,
I didn't know about that. Okay.
Anyway, that's heartbreaker, but yeah, he's gonna have to write a sequel. I mean, obviously,
the
Jesse
book.
was
The guy with the book. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and I forgot he puts real numbers in there.
Oh yeah.
And it's like out of all these reported hate crimes, the percentage is super high number. And
Well, look at the crime in the debate. Did you see the stats of Florida versus California? It was absurd. It was like 500 to 250. It was 2 to 1 per 100,000. I forget what the ratio was.
Oh yeah. But then Gavin Newsom is actually lying and saying it's worse. That's what's staggering. It's like, even with the number on the screen, you know what? He was like that reporter who was talking about the mostly peaceful protest. Yeah. It's like, they're mostly peaceful, while everything's burning and on fire behind them in the screen. That's kind of the way he was about the stats. He's like, oh, and
he
it's
starts
so
yelling at
violent.
DeSantis about lockdowns. And I'm going like, dude, we didn't get out of here. We were the last ones out, the last ones to go to school, the last people to be unmasked. And I think DeSantis was kind of stunned by the grandiosity of the lies. I mean, he was kind of like, "Whoa, I wasn't prepared.
Well, it is.
I wasn't prepared for this.
I wasn't prepared to see it. I was like, holy shit! I mean, this guy, because he did it so flowingly. Mm-hmm. That was weird. Now let's swing back to Chicago for a second because I saw this earlier. I thought it was interesting. They're getting tired of the migrants getting all the money. So the black community in Chicago
that is being spent. I think that there needs to be a federal audit against the company that we have contracted out to take care of the migrants. We have nurses that are being paid $64,000 a month. We have security officers.
Yeah.
That are being paid as much as $24,000 a month. We have home health care workers that are being paid up to $17,000 a month. You don't think that Chicagoans could have benefited from that? Nope. We have citizens in this city that have been on the waiting list for affordable housing for years, and migrants have been bumped in front of them. We have people who have been given up to $9,000 a month for housing assistance. That amount of money can be life-changing for some families here in the city of Chicago. We are not.
Whoa, she's still going. Whoa, lady.
She goes on for 4 minutes, so I'm not going to keep going, but yeah.
Lady, you voted for these people. What do you want from us? Who are you ranting and raving to? They will never vote the other way. They will never vote the other way. The only thing that saves them in the past has been federal investigations into urban malfeasance. That doesn't happen anymore, so they kind of are on their own now. They will never vote. Forget about what's going to fix this. They will never vote against the Democratic Party. They just have been demonized to death with the Republicans. So it's great to see them kind of swimming in their own stew. You know what I mean? Having to deal with this corruption, same as New York, with the mayor there about to be indicted in New York. As I have predicted, when you're stopped on the streets of New York and you're the mayor and the FBI takes your cell phone, not a good look. Not good. That's not. That's a bold move by the FBI, and they don't want to have egg on their faces. So I presume there's a secret grand jury meeting right now as I speak, and that this piece of shit mayor, who I originally had high hopes for, who turned out to be David Dinkins.
Yeah.
Who's Ed Dinkins? David Dinkins on steroids, a young David Dinkins. Who knows what David Dinkins would have done? David Dinkins was quietly the borough president of Manhattan for many years, and this cat was out in Queens Brooklyn doing a similar thing under the radar until he won or somehow got into a runoff and caught them trying to steal it. Remember, I don't know if you remember that. They were trying to steal the mayoral race from him, and he kind of called him on it. He'll be in jail. So the only thing that could save these urban people, and I think it's in the interest of the Biden administration, because it's becoming an albatross on the Democratic Party's neck, is to indict and jail these leaders and keep it democratic in those urban areas. Because if they don't, people are going to start, Hell's Angels. people are going to start leaving.
New
What's
security
going on out here? People are going to start leaving the plantation of the Democratic Party and starting to look for other greener pastures. So they have to clean up their own mess from a federal level. I've seen it out here. The FBI has been involved in a couple of these city councilman indictments. You're going to see it possibly in Chicago, and you're going to see it in New York, especially before the election. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one thing about, you're right that a lot of these people will never, ever, ever vote the other way.
Nope.
But what they may do is be too lazy to go and vote. And that's
right. But I'm talking about urban political votes. I'm not talking about national votes. I mean, people can split that vote. I mean, that's happened before, but I don't think they're ever going to, well, what do I know? I could be wrong. I mean, Giuliani won in New York. And as I said to you, I voted with Giuliani on the Liberal Party ticket. How he got onto the Liberal Party ticket is a story for another day. But I voted for him as a Liberal Party ticket mayoral candidate. He was also on the Republican Party ticket. But I think the opposition was both on the Democrat and the Green Party ticket at the time. So people have done that in mayoral races before, where you're on multi-party tickets. It allows someone like myself to vote for someone like him and still hold your head high at a party with cocaine, weed, and drinking and nudity in New York.
And say, I never voted for a Republican.
Right, exactly. And I think I did that for like 10 years, and later on I changed. But the reality of it is they are now trying to clean up some of this mess before the election. Because as I said, 45 days from now, the answers are going to start coming in out of Iowa. They're going to start coming in out of New Hampshire. And we're going to see them start to tighten the belt on Trump as these victories occur. I believe they won't get draconian until the field is cleared and he's nominated. So there's nowhere to go. They don't want to do this now with him because the mortal wound, if you want to look at it as a wartime move, is not to jail him and indict him and jail him now, because then the rest of the pack could rise up. The best damage is to let him get the nomination in July and then try to drive a stake through his heart criminally and physically, which is what I think they're going to do.
And get him off ballots everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. To do it now gives him too much time. My answer to Trump is to get it done now. The gag order was overturned. It's been reinstated in New York. I think he should just stand up and literally in the middle of the courtroom say, "Take me now. I will not be gagged," and cite some sort of great quote from American history. I have but one life to give to my country. Whatever you want to stand up and say, get it on now in December of 2023. Do not let them control the timetable of when they're going to put you in jail. You have to control that timetable. And the way to control that timetable is to bust open the gag order now. Do it now so they can show their ugly face and empty their gun, which is what you want to do. You want to have them use their bullets now on your schedule. And I'm going to keep saying this until something happens, because their schedule we're always on the defense, it seems like, Eric. And we've talked about this before. We never can get the balls to go on the offense. And populists have bigger balls than these people who are engineers sitting in their homes who are country club Republicans. They just are worried about their 401ks and their investments and whatever they got going on. Okay, that's fine. Look how good that's gotten us. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff's going to be gone. They're going to switch to a crypto digital currency. I mean, I'm listening to this maniac who is Justin Trudeau's brother with Viva the other day, and he's just going on about crypto and digital currency, and he's smoking weed, I think, at the same time. He's giggling, and he looked exactly like Viva, like 15 years ago. He was the Doppel Viva.
That was the funny part. Yeah,
it was the fun. I'm going like, whoa! If I didn't know who this guy was, I thought this was Viva's younger brother. Who has not been brought into the fold yet.
Yeah, that was funny to see for sure.
But I mean, he asks him, to his credit, Viva, about Amaryllis Fox.
Oh, good.
And he didn't plug the episode, but who cares? And the defense of Amaryllis Fox by, and it's hard to, the strange bedfellows in this election are just crazy. The fact that Viva is asking Justin Trudeau's brother about Amaryllis Fox and he's working for the RFK campaign, folks. I don't even know if he's a U.S. citizen. He married some chick who's a U.S. citizen in Mexico at some rave that he met a couple of years ago, moved to Florida, and now he's with her in Florida. I don't know if he's a U.S. citizen, but he's working, and he's got a tour bus. He's got a giant Winnebago driving around the country on acid, supporting RFK with all kinds of stickers and
so that bus is real? I thought there was maybe a satire site, so I didn't pull it.
No, he's pulling like a Merry Pranksters Ken Kesey acid thing. Oh, yes.
What, did RFK meet him in rehab?
No, he met, if I watched the interview, he met Bobby Kennedy III, the knucklehead kid. They bonded over knucklehead issues. He then met his wife, Amaryllis Fox of the Central Intelligence Agency. He then said he's on board for anything because he comes from the Kennedy family himself of Canada, which is the Trudeaus. So he completely related to Bobby III. This is the son of Bobby Kennedy Jr., the grandson of RFK, who is a fledgling director. Although I haven't seen the documentary that he did on Hunter Thompson, but it's like the third Hunter Thompson documentary. So I'm documentaryed out on Hunter Thompson. However, his defense of Amaryllis Fox, when questioned by Viva in the episode last week, was that she wrote this book. And he holds up the book that we dissected on the show, which I recommend that episode for anyone who is interested. He holds up the book and he goes, "It's all in here, Viva." And I'm going, "Yeah, it's all in there, my friends." That's the cat right there. That's not the shot where he looks like Viva. When he came on the show.
Yeah, there's a screenshot with him side by side.
With David, it's hysterically funny. And not unlike Viva, because they're both from Canada, looking the same way with the same intonations and the same verbal skills. However, it gets better. His grandfather and his real father is named Kemper, which is his name, Eric. So Viva was hoping for the best, and Viva always hopes for the best. You got to love that in Viva. He was hoping that Kemper was a Jewish name. Not close. His father was a Nazi in the war in Germany, and his grandfather, the father came over in 1952 through some sort of Operation Paperclip. Nazis in Canada. It gets worse. As the interview went on, you could see like little cringes by Viva, like, oh, yeah, but he kept going, trying to put a good spin on it like Viva does. So his grandfather killed Americans and obviously Jews. And then I think the spin was, well, he wasn't in the Gestapo or there was some attempt, and Jews always love this when they come up with the good Nazi thing. This goes all the way back to the Nazis created it themselves. That I was a good Nazi. I didn't know anything. I saw nothing. I was just a Nazi. What do you want from me?
Just following orders.
I was just following orders. I was a Nazi. Anyway, it went from Justin Trudeau's brother to the new father being a Nazi. And then they talked about that cat who was a war criminal who spoke in the Canadian Parliament. Oh. And remember the war criminal who they brought up?
Polish guy.
Yeah, the Polish war criminal, Nazi, who spoke. And he goes, "Yeah, that's outrageous." the guy, that they'd have Nazis speaking in the Parliament. I go, "That's outrageous."
Well, David hates Trudeau. This guy probably hates Trudeau. So
he didn't really throw him under the bus, though. He didn't really. There was no hate.
Wow. All right, I'm going to go through some super chats that have come in. Dick Dickerson said, "Watch the debate via Steven Crowder's show. Nick and Steven were torching both of them. All of Newsom's stats were lies." That's cool.
I don't need to watch Crowder to hear.
Yeah, that kind of sometimes distracts me when I watch a host going, and it's like
I don't need that. I'm my own host. I had some people over anyway, so we were talking about it. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy.
FYI, political.
There it is. Mostly
truthful. Oh, they always do that. Or they'll say something is a lie, and then in the third paragraph they state that it is actually true.
We all know, but I didn't hear the second part. That's good news. I mean, Vivek should dismantle his campaign right now, come out with a full-throated endorsement of Trump. Don't wait till the day of the primary vote. Do it now, bro. Be a man. Step up. Get out. Endorse Trump. Wrap your arms around him and pray to God that we make it through this goddamn election season. I don't need to hear. There's no attack on Vivek. I just don't need to hear new ideas at this time. You want to come back in 2028? I'll stand right behind you. Right now, we need every single person in this area to step out of the limelight and into the shadows and help Trump by embracing him and putting the spotlight on him. I wanted him on TV last night debating Newsom, Trump debating Newsom. I would like to see that as a non-binding debate if Biden won't do it, Eric. You know what I mean? Have Newsom come on as his surrogate. I mean, I would pay to see that. You know what I mean? But now with RFK trying to get into the debates, what they're going to do is they're going to tag team against Trump. And they're going to start to try to triangulate against Trump if he agrees to do a debate with the three of them. If I was Trump, I wouldn't do it. Who knows if Biden's going to do it? I don't know. They're now throwing around these poll numbers, which was part of the interview with the Trudeau brother, that he's got the poll numbers to get into the debate. And then he went into detail about trying to get on the ballot in 50 states, which they're now attempting to do with RFK, which is only going to give additional choices to independent voters. Again, for the 90th time, for you who are impaired out there, I'm not talking about dedicated Trump voters. I'm talking about the 45% of the country that are independent voters. That is the mostly going for Trump before this event happened, went for Trump the last time, and really decide every single election in this country, presidential election. That's the block I'm talking about. Again, not Trump voters, independent voters that would normally swing for Trump now have another phony losing choice in the spoiler RFK Jr. I talk slower for that so people who are hearing impaired can understand it a little bit better. That
also
being
soft Republicans that hold their nose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's inclusive. But I just want to make it clear. I'm not talking about MAGA Trump supporters. And these people just keep saying, I'm not going to switch. Okay, that's not what we're talking about, bro. No, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of votes that are threatened to move over to this RFK column, which doesn't exist, and get hooked to a guy that even if he pulls out RFK, there will be people who are so juiced up over RFK that they won't be able to vote for Trump emotionally.
Yeah, they'll just stay home.
Yeah.
Or they'll get, yeah. It's funny. Now, one thing about Vivek, back to him, I think Trump has actually said that he has no issues with Vivek. It was like,
I don't have issues with him either. Yeah.
It's like if Vivek stepped out, I'm sure that Trump would offer him a cabinet position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you got to do it now, bro. Don't wait till the night of the primaries. It doesn't help anybody. Get out tomorrow. Do it now. Man up. Don't be a douchebag about this and wait till, for some reason, to have a press conference at Iowa. It's not necessary. You don't have to prove that point. And Nikki Haley, I don't know what she's trying to do. I don't know what these other mutts are trying to do. The fat man and everybody else. It's just a crap show.
They're just ridiculous. Like Chris Christie, there's no reason. I mean, what, at least they're running in the top three. It's like everybody else is like, you have the top three who are a margin or small percentage of what Trump has. So it's kind of a joke. Yeah. Anybody beyond that is just getting ridiculous.
Look, let me tell you something. If it was close, bring it on. Bring it on. If it was close, bring it on. But when you're 60 to 50 points behind, you're a laughing stock. You're a laughing stock. Fox is a laughing stock. The people doing this are a laughing stock. If it was a close race, you got 45 days. What is DeSantis going to pick up 60 points overnight from that debate? I mean, what is the best hope of DeSantis other than remaining in, where's the capital? Tallahassee of Florida? Remaining in Tallahassee for the rest of his life.
Right. But it's beyond, you're right about close. I mean, even if DeSantis had 20 and Trump had 30, I could say, well, there's a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree, Eric. I agree. You're right. I would give him a shot. He's not a bad candidate, despite what they said. The debate performance was fine, but not now. What is it about now that they insist on doing this now, other than hoping that Trump goes to jail and is stricken from the ballot, which shows the incredible darkness of your own psychology. If that's your plan, wow, you got to live with yourself over that, folks.
Yeah, Pasha's got a great point here. I don't think that the other Republican candidates care if Biden gets reelected, especially since it's clear that none of them will.
Well, he'll come for them. What do you mean? It'll be clear now that Jack Smith has demanded every like from Twitter of any Trump account, any retweet, any like of a Trump Twitter account. They're putting together, people are like, whoa, what are they going to do with that? They're going to come after all of us? Again, schmucks. They're putting together a master list. I know this sounds impossible, but what they're going to do is when an event comes up in your life, they're going to run your name through this Trump database and deny you privileges that the other side is being accorded. Doesn't mean they're going to jail you. It means that every little thing in your life that you apply for, tax abatement, income tax,
credit cards, bank
credit
accounts,
cards, flights on planes. This is a Chinese system. The Chinese do the same thing. That's where they got it from. That's why Jack Smith got from Elon Musk the list of every single like of Trump on Twitter last week from Elon Musk, who provided this, which is unbelievably outrageous, to the prosecutor, Jack Smith, so they could put together a master list. Everybody's sarcastically joking about it. They're not joking about it in Jack Smith's office. They want to put together a database of names of every Trump supporter in the country. 85 million names. You go, hey, Mark, it's a lot of names. That's right. They want every single one of them. And they're going to run it through this database, this Trump database in the future for any single thing that they can have your name come up on. And then they're going to not dox you, they're going to debit you for that. Whatever the thing is, they're just going to deny access to you for that event. And you go, well, that's outrageous. How could they do that? Do you need any more outrageousness to convince you people? You know what I mean? I mean, at what point is enough enough? You know, where you just say, I'm so fed up, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to throw myself onto the machine. Apparently, there's a lot more leeway on the Republican side of putting up with shit.
Well, it's a social credit score that they're working on. And part of the problem when you say the Republicans have a habit of saying, well, I haven't done anything wrong. I have nothing to hide.
It's mentally retarded. They're mentally retarded. I can't even have a conversation about it because it just sickens me to my stomach. They claim to be these revolutionary founding fathers, supporters, and all this other bubamaisis, as my grandmother would say. It's a crock of shit. They keep showing these books on Fox, you know, like Thomas Jefferson, The True Story, right? I mean, they're skipping 200 years of American history to glorify these founding fathers, to really defend themselves and wrap themselves in a don't tread on me cloth of decency. It's outrageous. Focus on this election now. I don't want to hear about Thomas Jefferson. I don't want to hear about the Paine family, unless it's Michael Paine. I don't want to hear about all this old stuff. Everything, your republic is on the line in literally a few months in November. And if you think they're just playing around, you're dreaming. You're going to have to explain to your grandchildren, what did you do to prevent this on November 4th of 2024? I watched the Packers play the Bears. I didn't do anything. I voted in my red state. I sent a check for $5. What's the problem? Explain that to your grandchildren. I'm sure they're going to be quite pleased to hear that from the gulag.
True. Lisa Franceschi said it's been too long.
For you,
well, thank you, Lisa.
Seen you in a while. It's been too long for you. We've been here, Lisa.
That's true. That's true. Oh, Warrior Big Mouth wants a "Get Off Your Fat Asses" T-shirt.
Well,
I don't know if Spreadshirt will do that. Maybe we'll talk to
a picture of a fat ass. What if it's just a picture without the words?
I don't know. Interesting.
It could be in jeans. It doesn't have to be naked.
Well, it could be
sick, Goya. I mean, why'd you think naked?
How about Goya?
What's that?
Get off your asses. Just
they confuse that with the company that endorsed Trump, the Goya Bean Company, that the Mexican American. I don't know if you know, Goya is a big Spanish American product. But how about the full-throated endorsement by the head of Home Depot the other day for Trump?
No, not a complete surprise. My big surprise was Michael Rappaport when he came out.
Well, I don't know if he's fully on board yet.
That was still funny to watch. Though. Even Chris Cuomo, there was a clip of him essentially saying that that's going to, or he could see himself pulling the lever.
He could?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, no, he denied that last night. I watched him last night. Just because of that. He was just laughing. He says, never going to happen. No planet. No, would never do it in a million years.
Oh, okay.
It was fake news.
Dick Dickerson said Alex Stein talked to Santos during a hearing. Alex introduced Santos to his wife's boyfriend.
Oh, my God. All of them are the same person, by the way.
Alex is a very strange fellow.
Yeah, he's a very strange cat.
This has been all Canadian networks nonstop. Or this has been on all. It must be Santos.
Maybe Santos? Really? What's it to them?
I don't know. I don't have any context, so I'm not completely sure.
Yeah.
Al Gonzalez, the detective, saw the new Godzilla movie today. Superbly done and well worth seeing.
What Godzilla movie? I didn't even know there was a Godzilla movie. I'm still waiting for Barbie. I got to watch Barbie.
Yeah.
By the way, the Elvis movie, very good. I didn't know it was Baz Luhrmann. Highly recommended the Elvis movie that came out last year.
I like Baz. I thought Moulin Rouge was good. He doesn't do a lot. It's like
I know it takes him 10 years. That's why I was stunned to see it was him. I didn't know that. I watched half of it. I'm going to watch the other half. I watched the other half of the new Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie, which is in 2 parts. I watched half of that.
Is it on streaming now?
Yeah, it started a stream last night.
Where?
On YouTube, $5.99. You can get it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm saying it is on YouTube, but very convoluted. The stunts and a lot of car chases and stuff like that. But the plot is a little crazy. But I haven't seen the other half. So, but then when I say the other half, that's still not the full movie because there's a second part.
That's too bad because the Mission Impossibles are usually pretty good flicks.
This one's a little. I mean, no. The money on the screen is enormous. I mean, it's beautiful to watch. It's stunning. It's shot in Rome. The motorcycle car chases are breathtaking. I'm just saying the weed stuff on the plot is a little much. There's an airport scene, I think, in Dubai in the airport that's really, really fascinating. Wow. So that's I would watch that and Elvis for the weekend.
Okay. Two good choices.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had seen this. I wanted to share, but Piers Morgan can sometimes be such a prick.
I didn't see it, but I saw the kid on with somebody else talking about it afterwards. He went on another show and talked about the event. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, you're a journalist.
You're very young even now. What are you, 20 years old now?
Yes, sir.
And you've killed 2 human beings and wounded a third. I just wonder how that feels.
Oh my God.
I don't think that's an appropriate question to ask how it feels. It's not an easy thing to do. It's something I live with every single day. It's nightmares I have. It's something that I have to deal with. I have to deal with the PTSD and the trauma from having to do that.
Right. I mean, but it seems to me your emotions are more about you and your
emotions are more about
your life has been threatened and
the emotions about being about
side of it, rather than the question I'm asking, which is simply on a human level. How do you feel about being so young and yet having on the record for the rest of your life?
Is he hitting on him? Is this a gay thing?
People, regardless of the circumstances.
And like I just said, it's something I deal with every day. I deal with the PTSD and the trauma and the nightmares. It's not easy to deal with it.
Your book, presumably you're going to make money from this book. Do you feel comfortable making money from this, which ultimately is a tragic story? I repeat, you were acquitted. There's no reason you can't do a book. But do you feel comfortable making a lot of money out of essentially what in the end was an incident that cost the lives of other humans?
And here we go. By the way, how much money are you, Piers Morgan, making off a tragedy every damn day of your work?
It's outrageous. It's just he's a gutless piece of shit. Everyone knows it. He puts a bad face on the Brits. When I denounce the Brits, I'm denouncing pieces of shit like Piers Morgan. I'm not denouncing the Brits who came to our conference or the working class Brits or Tommy Robinson, who's in trouble over there again, going to the anti-Palestinian rally gets arrested the second he shows up, having done nothing. Robinson.
Oh, he spent time in prison. He's been
right.
beaten down.
I mean, I love those guys. I love those guys. I'm talking about pieces of shit like this elite British scumbag Piers Morgan. That's what I'm railing about. I think our British fans know that, who watch the show from the UK. And apparently I'm going to be doing this Sean Atwood show, speaking of shaved-headed Brits, on Wednesday. I think it's 10 o'clock in the morning my time, which is a little early for me. So I'll stay up all night doing coke and was that something wrong with that? Just to make sure I'm up.
No, it's fine. You'll be a cokehead, and he's the ecstasy king, and it'll be
well.
good.
I'm going to try to compare notes with that with our drug stories. I'm going to try to go toe to toe, mano a mano, with this shaved-headed British cat who seems like a nice guy.
He is.
I know, and compare notes with my drug dealing versus his drug dealing. So I suggest you tune in to Sean Atwood on Wednesday, whatever time it is for you, UK. I think it's 6 to 7 p.m. And
I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern or 2, something like that.
On YouTube. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Scumbags like this who people get deceived by the British accent. And this kid said he was going to walk off. Whoever booked him on the show is a schmuck. Whoever booked him on the show should have booked him on some other shows. He didn't need to be on this show. You know, this strongly anti-Second Amendment psycho, which he's laid out many times on CNN. He didn't need this show, Kyle Rittenhouse.
No, he did. And my issue too is that the subject that he's covering, that is a legitimate thing, but he could have said, how are you handling this? How are you doing?
Yeah.
How is it? You were so young when this happened. How do you cope with that? Mm-hmm. There's a million ways, but it's so accusatory. Like, how does it feel killing?
Oh, please. I'm going to throw up. Can we move on to the next story? I wish the kid the best of luck. Oh, this. Oh my God. I mean, you know what's so funny? They have obituary writers, and they write these obituaries so many years in the past to get their workload off their desk. His must have been written, 10 to 15 years ago. But I mean, how many times have you and I said that these deep state people live to be 100? Every single one. They must have a complete hospital in their house. They must be on life support, basically, for years and years and years. Yeah,
it almost makes those really crazy conspiracy theories about the endocrines or different things that people are putting out there. It's like, well, they do live to be a long time, and Dick Cheney's still alive, and I don't know how that.
You know what it is? Yeah, well, they've never worked a day in their life. Their biggest work is picking up the phone. Let's face it. I mean, or signing. There's two things they do: they pick up the phone or they sign something. I mean, that's the physicality of their life. Think about that. While your father, my father, were going to work every day with a lunch pail, whatever they were doing, takes a toll on a man's lifespan. Obviously, women live longer than men because they're not doing that for the most part. But these guys live longer than any living biped on the earth because they're basically in survival mode with around-the-clock medical attention. It's astounding.
Top medical care in the world that's nearby, too.
I'll add another documentary to the mix, The Trial of Henry Kissinger, which puts him on trial for war crimes in a documentary. I think it won some awards a number of years ago. People want to take a look at that.
Oh, good. All right. Lisa Wolf likes us. I'm a new subscriber, and your podcasts are brilliant, incredible dynamic. Eric's straight guy, tech expertise, and Mark's engaging stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
And here we go from across the pond with 10 pounds. Gruesome Twosome. Have you seen the 7-hour UK TV series?
No, I have never seen it. Really?
You didn't put it up on Locals or anything else like that?
I mean, hey, Mark, have you heard of the Dodgers? They're a baseball team in Los Angeles. I mean, that's the level of these questions in my simple mind when I get these. And what do you think, pal? What do you think? I mean, it was made in 1992. You think we stumbled onto it in 1992 or 1995 as opposed to 2023 when you woke up after seeing the show and say, hey, look at this, mate. There's a thing on here because the man who killed Kennedy. It's got 7 bloody parts. Well, it's actually 9 parts, with the last one being the most interesting about the men surrounding LBJ and his linkage to the case, and the part was banned by the History Channel, part 9. That being said, there's a lot of errors in there. Which errors are they, Mark? Can you take 6 hours and show me right now? I can't, because I'm with Eric. We're doing a show. However, there are different things, and keep in mind it's made by the British. I can't emphasize that enough. This is made by Piers Morgan. There's a lot of great stuff in there. There's also stuff about Judith Vary Baker that's laughable. So you got to take it with a grain of salt.
I pretty much just go to episode 9 and don't worry about the rest of it.
Yeah.
Lucien, the question is, what is your view on Lucien Sartre, alleged grassy knoll shooter?
I don't think they needed to farm this out to the French. I've said this before. We have plenty of our own people. We didn't need to bring in French gunmen to do our dirty work for us. I'll just leave it at that. Sartre was running around. French intelligence was looking for him at the time. I don't know. It could be. Could be.
All right. Dustin is speaking about what we were saying earlier. My wife is clutching her pearls. I'm worried about my country club membership. We can't handle Trump. We don't want to rock the boat. Haley, 2024. Sarcastic tragedy.
Well, look, I mean, the more people that endorse her, the more people that give her money. When they wake up from their somnambulous dream, their opium dream, and realize it's just Biden versus Trump for the future of the world, they're going to have spent their money. And then they're going to sit there and say, why the fuck did I send $5,000 to Nikki Haley? That's up to you, bro. That's up to you. But I don't think they're going to have another 5,000, and 5,000, just fill in the blank what it means to you economically. They're just not going to have it to give to Trump later on. And they're going to wake up at one point and realize, probably after their Labor Day, return to their home, after their long summer vacation on the vineyard, they're going to come back and say, whoa, this is Trump and Biden for all the marbles. I spent $5,000 on Vivek. I spent $5,000 on the fat man, Chris Christie. I spent $5,000 on anybody. And now I don't have any more money to give to Trump. And Biden seemingly has unending amount of money from Blank Man, the cryptocurrency kid whose money was flowing into the DNC coffers, and from BLM, where the money was flowing in through the corporate cutout of BLM to Act Blue, the cutout for the DNC. And the individual person, which Trump relies on heavily, is going to be tapped out because you schmucks decided to send money to these phony candidates and wasted your money that now is needed to fight Dr. Evil, Joe Biden, and save the country from being taken over completely by the Marxists. But I mean, you couldn't help yourself. You had to give money to Nikki Haley. You couldn't help it.
And I saw this story. I was like, okay, this is about Karine Jean-Pierre is under scrutiny again for the Hatch Act because she won't shut up. But you read down into it, and she's not exactly in hot water if nobody does anything about it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, it's a semi story, but what is up with that? It's like, okay, they're under scrutiny. That was bad. That's very, very bad.
It's not. She's about an inch away from leaving anyway. She'll be out. She won't be back. But the real weird story is that story about Hunter Biden agreeing to testify and the Republicans insisting he do it behind closed doors so nobody sees it. That's one of the weirdest stories of the week. He is now demanding to testify in open court, open Congress, and the Republicans are now going, oh, not so fast. Not so fast. He may take the Fifth Amendment. He may outsmart us. We don't want to look like schmucks. We don't want to be on camera. The Republicans want to take Hunter Biden's agreement to be subpoenaed and appear in open Congress behind closed doors. Think about that, people.
I want to know which Republican's leading that charge, because obviously Hunter's got something on him. It's like, it makes sense that Hunter's going to blurt out something that they're worried about.
Well, he may, what I'm hearing is he may decide that he doesn't want to do it in open, behind closed doors, and insist on the open door, open air. And they say, no, we're not going to do it, thereby eliminating Hunter Biden's testimony, as I think where this is going.
Which is highly annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of, douche of the week, Alec Baldwin has settled.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, this was so weird, Eric. It had nothing to do with the murder of the cinematographer. Maybe you can explain this.
It was kind of a weird thing because Alec Baldwin was actually doing a decent thing that he managed to become an asshole about. So essentially, this woman, it was her brother or husband, somebody, he died in Afghanistan, and Alec Baldwin sent like a $5,000 donation. He was touched by the story, whatever. But then he found out that she was in January 6th. And so he trashed her and the dead veteran. And so they went after him like, you son of a bitch. So it's so confusing because he did do kind of a nice gesture to start.
Right.
And then he had to be Alec Baldwin.
Well, we have not heard from the secret grand jury out of Santa Fe in a while, Eric.
I have not,
unless they've texted you recently.
I get texts, but no update on that. Nothing.
Right. The longest running case in the history of show business is this murder of this poor woman by Alec Baldwin. Justice denied. I mean, right? I mean, it's this. I mean, where is the speed of justice in this case? I mean, over 2 years now, Eric.
Yes. Yeah.
I assume they finished the movie. I assume the movie will be taken around to festivals. Is that the next step?
That's your business.
No, I'm just playing this out in my head. They shot the rest of the movie. They've cut the movie. They're cutting the movie.
I think it's in the can.
It's in the can. No, that movie's done. So the next step will be, based on my schedule in my mind, February, March, it'll go to Venice and Cannes film festivals to look for buyers. So they'll be schlepping that movie, which means he will have to go.
How about Sundance? Would it go there or
no? No, not really. Sundance, I don't think so. Well, maybe. What do I know? It could be Sundance. Depending on where he wants to go and how busy they are with the JFK solving the assassination. I mean, I would like to pay top dollar to see Chris Christie in a Speedo versus Rob Reiner in a mud wrestling tournament to the death. Christie versus Reiner. I think that would be a great fundraiser.
Beep, beep, beep. Text just came in. Hannah Gutierrez Reed's going to be indicted December 4th. No, arraignment was December 4th.
Right on.
Oh, shit. December 4th, Monday.
Yeah, Monday. All right.
I hope that's televised. I'm going to see if I can catch that.
Okay. So they're going to flip her, I believe, and go after Baldwin, in my humble opinion.
Maybe. I think it's odd that we haven't heard anything from him. I don't know. We'll see. Today's a good day for that to come out.
I know.
At the end of the day.
It's the end of the day. It's Friday.
It might be any time.
Whatever time 5 o'clock is in Santa Fe. That's when 4:59.
Let me watch the chat because I could see a chat coming in saying, just announced, because we've seen that happen.
Just in time for the show. That would be great. We deserve it. We put in 71 episodes in Alec Baldwin. Give us a break in Santa Fe. Give us something to live for.
Not to mention being personally picked on by the prosecutor.
Oh, yeah. Hunley, yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
Well, he definitely doesn't like me.
All right. Love and Two Limes wants to know, should I renew my passport?
Yeah, I think you should. If you're not keeping your passport, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Yeah. You better keep that passport up to date. I just got my friend a new passport. You got to be ready to go. And Barnes has talked about this before. It hasn't been a long time, but you got to be ready to go. You got to have an exit strategy.
Have a bug out bag too, right?
Yep, bug out bag, the whole thing, brother. You're crazy if you don't. You think you're going to stick here in this burning ship? Oh.
Oh boy. BTK saying sociopaths. We must stop the Democrats. The Biden sign on with the UN and WHO to give emergency orders to all citizens comes just when China pneumonia arrives. Isolation of all mail-in ballots.
Thank you, BTK. I mean, imagine another 4 years of Joe Biden. No, that doesn't motivate me enough, Mark. I really want to hear about Vivek's new ideas. I just imagine 4 years unrestrained by Joe Biden or his handpicked successor. It doesn't really matter since it's being run out of Shanghai anyway. That's what we have to stop. Well, I don't like Trump's attitude. I really don't, Mark. Okay, these are your two choices: Trump, Biden. That's it. There is nobody else. Well, I'd like to look at RFK a little bit closer. Okay, in 2028, when he tries to get the Democratic nomination, when he comes back after he spoils this election, and tries to get the Democratic nomination, you can revisit that from your gulag in Siberia. But until then, there's really two choices.
And keep this in mind. The first term, they're nice.
Yeah.
The second
this is him
term
being nice.
is when they really go down, because they're not going to get another one.
No. So you saw the best of the best for 4 years. And the economy, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think that's the only thing Trump should say.
I agree.
Oh, by the way, I saw him with Tucker for the sit down. I highly recommend that too. Trump.
That was a few months old, with what you shared. That was during the debate.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Tucker, his appearance with Roseanne was actually kind of fun.
Okay,
all over the place. It was all over the place because Roseanne comes up with some.
She's so crazy.
She's deep in the conspiracy land, but she's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Tucker was really kind of cutting loose with it.
She's the kind of chick you want to party with.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she can be hilarious. I mean, I heart PG. My signs are up for Trump, Mark and Eric in 2028. No, just
Thank
be
God. 2028. That's funny.
Well, we're not going to interrupt.
We're going to have to run against the RFK political machine.
Oh my God!
With Justin Trudeau's brother and the CIA. Anyway, again, back to that guy with the book. His explanation for Viva about why the CIA agent is running the campaign. He says it's in her book, and which we analyzed, and I was forced to read, and Eric read it too, I think, right?
I gave up.
No, I read the entire book, and then I listened to it on audio tape. Then I reenacted the scenes from the book with a theater group that I created called the Fox Theater Group, just to make sure that everybody saw every scene from the movie.
Was it the same people who did the Judith Mary Baker?
Yes, there was actually a wonderful group. Anyway, he says the answers are in there, and he has no problem with it because RFK, this is what I was getting to, is too smart to allow the CIA to come in and undermine his campaign. His father was an idiot. His uncle was an idiot. But this guy is too smart to let the CIA come in and undermine his campaign. So he hired you got to understand the double logic. He hired a CIA agent to keep his tabs on her and the agency by getting rid of Dennis Kucinich from Ohio, the congressman, firing him and giving a woman, some dingbat, new age, crystal loving woman, from the CIA, the ability to run a presidential campaign when she's not even run a campaign for dog catcher, because that is how smart RFK Jr. is. And that was his final answer. And Viva had to accept that because of the nicety code of Canada written in 1891.
I don't know. Well, hey, Beavis is coming in hot.
Uh-oh.
Howdy, partners. Stop the commies. But
right on, brother. Right
if we lose the United States in 2024, which country are we moving to?
Well, that's the conversation I have with every single friend every single day. And we've all I had a friend coming back from Italy last night. He went to Romania. He went on a world tour looking for a country. I've been on tour, as many people know, within the United States. I've been overseas a number of times. That's the answer. I mean, that's the question. The $10,000 question is what we're trying to do and figure that out. That 100's going to help, though. I'll tell you that much, to get the hell out of here. But we'll be broadcasting from a undisclosed country in 2024, the end of 2024.
Wow. Ethel is pushing 100. What's she up to?
Okay, so she's a total vegetable. I was privy to the letters that from RFK to his sisters about them dragging her out during the Sirhan debate. I was sent the letters that he wrote to his sisters, and in the letters, emails to his sisters, he castigated them for bringing out Mom, who is a vegetable at this point, to say on her behalf that she was opposed to the Sirhan parole that RFK Jr. and I worked on successfully, which was denied by the lying sack of shit governor, the prevaricator in chief of the state of California, Gavin Newsom.
Have you noticed, how small this world is?
I don't even know how I got into it. I'm just a guy. I don't even have any pants on, and yet I'm dragged into this world. I'm nobody. These are like big players, and all of a sudden, everybody, it's not just me, we're all been dragged into this as populists. The internet has done that, I think, in a lot of ways. It's pulled the curtain back. Yeah.
It's nuts, though. I mean, think about our friend David. I mean, we know the guy. He's a friend. Is on with Trudeau's brother, for God's sake, who's working the campaign for RFK, who Mark worked with to get the parole for Sirhan. It kind of makes my head spin. So I'm going.
Well, how about Oliver Stone has endorsed RFK Jr. and RFK, so that's a perfect match.
Yeah, that definitely.
But I'm mentioning Oliver Stone because we just posted the complete part 1 of Oswald, the miniseries part 1, the fabulous AI project that the members are now quelling. It was the word quelling in the Yiddish. You quote my grandmother. Quelling doesn't mean that, Mark. Well, in my household, it meant quelling was really, people clapping their hands in applause of the miniseries. They really like it over on Locals. And I think you have to join to become a member to see that. But it's one of the perks of membership. So those people, I was shocked. There was one person who really couldn't take it, but it's been overwhelmingly positive, Eric, right?
Yeah, I mean, and nobody's going to 100% like anything.
Right. That's what my sick mind urges,
It is what it is, but yes, it is up there. And actually, on that note, Locals, I stated that the membership is going to be going up to $70 today. What? I did not realize, though, that there'd be a Freeform Friday show December 1st, and I feel like I want to get the word out to everybody to give everybody a chance to get in at $50 annually versus $70 annually. So what I'm going to do is wait until Monday.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ! Drop the hammer on these people, Hunley. Let's go. You're either in or you're out.
Now let them join over the weekend. So anybody who's watching, and I thought about it, it's like, okay, well, I'll wait till tomorrow, but that wouldn't be fair because people are watching the replay. So the whole weekend, you have the whole weekend. Well, it's going to be $50 a year.
Right. You could read the miniseries over the weekend too. So if you pay now, you could get in there right? Or
yeah, I mean, well, you'll be good for a year. I mean,
it's the whole year. It's all
exactly.
Year. What is it, like $700 a year?
It's $50 a year, and then Monday it's $70.
I thought it was like $700 a year.
No,
how much is it?
$50
a year
for a year.
I mean, I pay $50. I pay that a month to Netflix combined with Paramount Plus, and my cable is $120 a month. My stupid cable, just without Paramount Plus and without Netflix and every other stupid thing I subscribe to. Wow, I didn't know it was that cheap. That's impressive.
Oh, I mean, it's reasonable.
We want to rethink that.
Well, we're going up to 70.
Oh, 70. Well, that's a horse of another color. 70.
It's a bump.
I had lunch at this thing here in LA the other day. It was $104. So, I ran out on the bill, which of course is what we do in Brooklyn. But I noticed it was 104, so I took the thing and I ran. But yeah, 70. Come on, you could dig down. Let's go on the couch.
But 50 until Monday.
No, Monday when? Monday midnight?
No, Monday sometime in the morning. So just figure the end of the day Sunday.
Whenever Hunley wakes up. And
whenever I wake up, get my coffee done.
I
might sleep in. I don't know.
Holy cow, I wouldn't trust that for a long time.
I would just assume
get up at noon or something. Who knows?
Or just get it in before Sunday night, because then you're safe if you want to do that for a year. We do appreciate it. The Locals helps us out immensely because we can get a hold of everybody. And by the way, you could follow us on Locals for free. You could do that right now. Look around, just follow for free, and then go pay on Sunday if you decide, it's worth supporting. So
I see what you're saying. Okay,
there's a little bit of a bumper.
You can kick the tires a little bit.
Of course. And as a matter of fact, we will be doing our after show here on Locals, where we always go over there and answer Locals tips, questions, different things like that. And we've been doing that on every episode.
Right. Did you see the guy who wrote the article about me and Barnes on Israel on Lou Rockwell?
That was a weird thing. Something about architecture.
No, that was another article. That was a second article. He wrote, in which he showed his original. Apparently, he's written a bunch of articles. I didn't even know it. That was about, just to explain to the people at home, there's a log line in the script, a meaningless log line. I mean, it's meaningless. It's it's for the director. and there's a scene where Oswald is in the Metropole Hotel in Moscow, and it says Art Deco style hotel. This guy cherry picked that out of my script. You have 10 billion factoids in the script. He picks out in a slug line the word Art Deco and says it's not Art Deco, and he writes a whole long thing telling me it's not Art Deco. And I'm going like, what is this minutia? So I go to the website of the hotel just to double check. And in big giant letters, it says famous Art Deco hotel in Moscow. So I send that to him. And of course, he moves the goalpost onto another subject like they all do. But this guy wrote an article about it.
Yeah, it's weird. I think I thought he said it was avant-garde or something. It's like, instead of Art Deco, it's avant-garde. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I'm only using the website of the actual hotel, for Christ's sakes. But that's not enough for this this guy here. But anyway, it was a good-natured article.
It was put in, yeah, it was definitely
it was tongue in cheek. It was tongue in cheek, and he escaped to France. Ira Katz, a former engineer, of course, possible Spectrum-y person. He escaped the United States, but he lives in France now, and he saw the handwriting on the wall and got out.
He lives in better France, not Paris,
right? Well, he doesn't know that Klaus Barbie, the butcher of Lyon, came from France. So they'll come for you, Katz.
All right. Let me see. We got a white pill for this.
What?
Connecticut is withdrawing the electric vehicle mandate.
Thank you. I saw this and I said, finally, somebody ran the numbers. Somebody in a Democratic administration in some state that's already legally mandated, California being one of them, 100% electric cars by X year. Somebody in their office ran the numbers, and what they realized was the loss of gas tax revenue would bankrupt the state. So this guy in Connecticut, the governor, blew the whistle on the mandate for electric vehicles in a stunning blow to environmentalists. It is a stunning blow to the Biden administration, to Newsom, and to all these other mutts who are out there, because you're giving up all the tax revenue for all their socialist Marxist programs. The noose is starting to tighten on these nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only are they going to lose all the revenue on the gas tax, but it's going to severely strain their electric grid.
Well, that's theoretical. This was actual numbers, money. Yeah, but you're right about that.
But both of them. Remember Gray Davis? Remember the last Republican governor was because Gray Davis and the rolling blackouts. I mean,
we had rolling blackouts here. Even last year, we had rolling blackouts now before the electric cars. So the reality of it is there will be no opera on a dead planet. Now, why do you say that, Mark? No opera on a dead planet? Because last night was the opening of the new season at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York. And during the second act, the environmental terrorists began to stand up and yell at their parents, and I say their parents with quotation marks, at the opera, screaming at them, waiting till the second act so the crowd could get into it. These were the top Lincoln Center members who paid to go to the premiere of the opera at the Metropolitan last night. And they famously yelled out, which I'm going to say all year, there will be no opera on a dead planet. I don't know why. I just love that slogan. And they started to get heckled and yelled at by the members who are essentially their parents' generation. And what this fight that we're seeing, where they're gluing their hands to paintings, they're throwing soup cans at paintings and everything, they're attacking the world of their parents, that their parents are the members of. Their parents are the donors of. This is their interstitial child-parent battle, using the end of the world metaphor to not clean up their room.
Kind of like the Weather Underground.
But it's even more it's not drastic. I'm saying it's more linear. You can see the line clearer with these people. There was a war going on. There was things going on with the Weather Underground. This non-existent climate hoax that they are so crazed about is so out of proportion. LA has the cleanest air it's ever had, starting in the 1990s, because of everything that they've done out here in California. When my father was out here in the 50s working down in Long Beach in the airline business, the airline industry, he said there was a brown cloud over Los Angeles every single day. you looked at this, it looked like a nuclear bomb.
There was a term, smog.
Well, that's long gone. That's long gone from California, buddy. But they now are freaking out because, and I can only say, go back to Thank You, Masked Man, the John Magnuson cartoon by Lenny Bruce, where there's nothing for the Lone Ranger to do anymore because he's cleaned up all the segregation and disease and injustices in the world in the cartoon by John Magnuson, starring Lenny Bruce and his voice, based on the Lenny Bruce bit, Thank You, Masked Man, which is also a great bit audio-wise, but this is the cartoon animated version of it, which I strongly recommend. The Lone Ranger can't accept it because there's nothing for him to do anymore. So now he says, I'm going to have to make trouble. And that's the beauty of the cartoon. And it's the beauty of what these people are doing. They're going to have to make shit up and make trouble, which is why you see the hoaxes, the phony Smolletts, the Palestinian hoax, them gluing themselves to paintings, the end of the world prognostication by 13-year-olds. This is what happens when your world becomes that good that they have nothing to complain about. I mean, look at Marlon Brando on the waterfront, or I'll take that back. The motorcycle movie with Marlon Brando, where he says, "What are you rebelling against?" And he says, "What do you got?" It's not that far out of context of what's happening today. They're rebelling against things that are dwindling every day they're alive, as the society that their parents and grandparents have created is dealing with all of these different issues. They're now micro-focused on a strip called the Gaza that if they went to, they'd be killed immediately. That's how far out they're having to go to find their pseudo-injustices. Racism, as we know it in this country, was moved into the ethereal world of institutional racism.
And internalized.
Internalized. Why is it? Well, we can't see it. Well, it's because
it's systemic.
Right. What I'm saying is they are stretching out this thing because the Lone Ranger has cleaned up the society. And thank you, Masked Man. And that's what has happened here. They have nothing to complain about. And they go to college and they hear long-haired professors telling them what it was like in 1968 when they romantically, and you could look at the Bertolucci film, the French film about 1968 to see what I'm talking about. And they have nothing to complain about, which has been romanticized by their professors since 1968. So they just have to take jobs in McDonald's to work to pay off their student loan. But wait. Biden says he's going to pay off this student loan. But wait, the Supreme Court of the United States says it's unconstitutional. But wait, Biden does it anyway. Oh, it's great. Now I don't have a student loan. I wish I could get out of this basement of my parents, but I can't save up any money because I'm spending a lot of money on social media and mailing in checks to BLM so they can be cut out and mailed to Act Blue so Biden can stay in power. It's a complete circle jerk of a society that has been duped and sent down a dark runway of no return. These people have to begin to grab their own boots and pull them up. And you could look at Jordan Peterson's book. You don't have to listen to me. I mean, there's many philosophers who've talked about this in the past 10 years. But anyway, that's where we are as a country and possibly the world. I mean, this is happening. There's German eco-terrorists running around, destroying pipelines in Germany for gas. Is Kamala Harris standing in front of a gas stove the other day, or Kamala?
Kamala, how dare you? How dare you?
All right. I mean, his biggest crime was mispronouncing. I love
that. What a slick, disgusting move. It's like, I'm not answering any charge. I'm just going to start yelling at you. And of course he does it on that, that she, her, him, or, bullshit line. He just goes right to.
He also had the phony indignation that DeSantis was going after LGBTQ people. And he goes, I'm going to stand up for them, and I can't allow this to happen,
Oh yeah, and then
you didn't see he held up the book. DeSantis held up the book, which teaches teenagers how to blow each other, and he had it. Oh my God, he held it up to the camera. I thought Newsom was going to have a heart attack. He had it blacked out where the member goes. It's called Queer or something or other. I forget the name of the book. and it was in the kids' libraries in Florida, everywhere, not just in Florida. He goes, yeah, these are the books I'm banning. And Newsom kept saying 1,319 books banned. And he goes, yeah, and this is one of them. And he holds it up. And I was like, oh my God, wow, what a move.
That's good. That's good that he could bring props. Because he did that.
A lot of props.
The poop map, the
poop map. Yeah.
That's good. Good job.
It was pretty good. Yeah, the queer book was really good.
All right. Cat Mama saying when they testy and open, each rep only gets 10 minutes around. Deposit soons can go on for yours. Okay, I guess this is a congressional testimony. Each rep only gets 10 minutes to ask him questions.
Right.
But they can go around and around. And Don Jr.'s went for 9 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Pasha.
Okay, that's good.
He agrees. Do we make an Amaryllis musical too? As we said, yes. Look, using the Judith Very Baker crew.
Well, her movie, which she thought was going to be made, has with Apple
a series.
Yeah, it was put in turnaround
with Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, who's got the freakiest feet in Hollywood. Check out Brie Larson's feet. Google that. Don't listen to me. Google Brie Larson's feet. Take a look at what's going on down there, folks.
Or just watch our Amaryllis.
Oh, I think it's in the episode too.
Yeah, it is. All right, Joshua Turnage. Is Carrie Wendell Thornley credible, I guess, about JFK assassination? Good considering he wrote Discordia and spent time with Lee Harvey Oswald?
Never spent time with Lee Harvey Oswald. He claims to have been in the Marines. He was in the Marines. He was in Okinawa. And he did hook up with him briefly. It's kind of like a Judith Very Baker. He's building on something that there's not much there.
Speaking of the Marines, we actually had somebody at the conference who showed us a picture of his cousin.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Who was a drill sergeant or a sergeant in San Diego, and is right down the line. There was Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh right,
so
right.
The guy
that was great.
Was in his platoon. So
yeah, that was great.
That's pretty good proof. If you're both in the same picture, I'm impressed.
Thornley just exaggerated his connection to Oswald as well.
All right, BTK disagrees. We're not losing and leaving. We'd get it back. So
BTK's going to fight. I'm in LA, bro. I'm behind enemy lines. So don't tell me about cutting and running. I'm the last Japanese soldier on Iwo Jima. So when they dig out my body, they're going to go, oh, this guy stayed for years after. Most people left. How did he survive? Well, he just had, I don't know, Red Bulls, and he had this purple cup. That's all we found. And I don't know how he lived. He had a thing called YouTube back then, and he must have just kept going till the very end.
All right. And your fellow troublemaker, Al Gonzalez. You guys are getting kicked out of everywhere in Dallas. Mark, you're half a Mick like me, but Ireland is off the list to move to. Riots, anti-Semitism, open borders are rife there. Yeah.
Look, I mean, maybe there was a guy that we watched a movie about who moved to Moscow and was the only place. Yes, Ed Snowden and his girlfriend with him now. I think they have a baby together.
Too effing cold, man. Too effing cold.
Well, there's people who live in Minnesota who have used to have a good life.
I'm speaking for myself. It's all about me, man. That's too cold.
I didn't know. I'm just saying. I am curious, and I'm being perfectly honest about looking, at least going to Moscow and see what's going on. Oliver Stone loves it. Apparently, Bill Maher thought he was insane. Many of my friends have gone to Moscow in the past 3 or 4 years, 5 years, and just speak extremely highly of the city.
I'd love to go to St. Petersburg too. It just looks beautiful. It looks like a beautiful place, and I'd love to go in the summer. And
I agree, but there's limited places you could go, and Moscow is one of them. Australia is completely batshit crazy at this point. Who knows what's going on in Australia?
Yeah, we met somebody at the conference there, and he described his experiences. It was horrible.
Dystopian society down there, like Mad Max. Europe is gone. Europe is out. What are you going to do in Europe?
Argentina?
UK, Argentina, possibly, or Brazil, if we ever get it back. It's starting to get limited, but that's what happened in World War II. People started to flee, and there were limited places that would take them. Ask the Jews who tried to get into the United States on board the ships and into Cuba and were turned back to the death camps. I mean, This is not made up. It's not a billion years ago. It's in our parents' and grandparents' lifetimes. It's here again. I know people don't believe it because they don't know anything about history. The people who watch this show know it's possible because we've tried to cherry pick stories that are relevant to today. But it is highly possible that more draconian things can happen than what happened in 1944, 1943, 1942.
Definitely. Oh, I see a couple of Rumble rants came in, and the tool that's supposed to surface them isn't working. So
what?
Yeah. Tech is fun. Agatha Raisin said, "Why are cities almost always liberal? Is it hive mentality, the convergence of like minds in a location, or a constant push to conformity from the machine?"
No, unions. It's all unions. It's union money that I'll give you an example. A simple example is going to stand here. The teachers union here in LA runs everything. It was brought up in the debate that he's beholden to the teachers union statewide, which is true. But just in the LA County, if you want to run for the school board, simple thing, it's now estimated you need $3.8 million in your pocket to run for the school board. And you say, "Wow, I'm never going to have $3.8 million. How am I ever going to get on a school board?" A simple job. The money is controlled by the teachers union. They handpick Marxists to run and give them the money, the 3.8, because they're sitting on a giant chest of money from the union dues that they squeeze out of the teachers, and then can use it to handpick people to put on the school board to reinforce their strength as a teachers union. They do the same thing statewide with Newsom and use the muscles. The answer is unions to that, and the squeezing of the money by the unions out of their constituents, forcing them to join. That's how they stay in power. And the woman who runs the teachers union famously said, "It's no longer about reading, writing, or arithmetic in the LA County school system. It's about Marxisms and the teaching of Marx and socialism." She's come out and said this as the head of the teachers union. So that's where we are. How we break the back of this, the start of breaking the back of this, is the re-election of Donald Trump. And then we could begin to chip away at this insanity that has grabbed onto us like barnacles on the side of a pirate ship. But that's where it begins. All the complaining and yelling and doing this is not going to amount to anything. They don't give a shit how much you yell. That's their entertainment at night. The only thing they fear is one man. One man they fear. And they want to put him in jail or possibly move to a JFK status situation. And anyone who deviates at this point is either a psycho, a sucker, or a moron from the re-election of this guy. I mean, really, people, at some point, you just got to just say, "Hey, maybe this guy's right. Maybe the republic is collapsing. Maybe I've seen enough. Maybe they've done enough draconian things." They're not done. They're just beginning. If they get reelected, your ass is grass and your tush is bush, and they're the lawnmower.
Okay.
That's where Al Gonzalez.
Here's a hedge clippers.
That's where Gonzalez. I don't know where I got that from. That's an old Brooklyn one.
All right. Sad Wings Raging sent us $10 and said, "Have a stiff shot on me, gentlemen."
Yeah.
Trump 2024.
Right on, brother.
And go through last super chats here, and we'll be headed over to the locals after party.
Whoa.
And Mo Bishop said, "I'm in, suckers."
Thank you, Mo. Yeah, the after party, that's where the substances come out.
That's right. That's right.
I read that Poland is one. Yeah, well, not Poland, Hungary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poland has collapsed completely. They've completely capitulated.
Well, they've done good on the immigration front. So there's still some strength there.
But they're in the pocket of the EU, and they've been used as a military base. Just an entire nation as a military base for the war against Russia. And if Russia decides to turn the spigot a little bit more open, they're going to go after Poland. So Poland is not a safe place. Hungary politically is the only country in Europe, as Tucker has pointed out with Orban, as the only safe place in Europe to politically live. I don't know about living long term, raising a family. It's not like they're inviting people from other countries to come in. Tokyo, I guess, Japan, maybe if you can get to Japan, but they're under the shadow of China,
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of expats in Korea, but that doesn't seem like it's a really free society, not from what I hear.
No, that's why there's a place called Koreatown a few miles from me.
Okay. Well, folks, one more time, we're going to locals.
Well, do you have any more super chats before you go over? Because I know these people are going to cry.
That's it.
Okay, all right, then leave them behind. Who cares about these people?
Oh, they come on to locals and tip us. I mean, come on to locals. It's fun. Water's nice in there.
Do they bring their family? Is it a family-friendly environment?
Mostly friendly-ish. We don't get too crazy. You know, people are very polite. They're very cool over there.
Right.
And again, you can follow for free. Check it out for yourselves. Watch the rest of this.
Sounds too true, Hunley. It sounds too good to be true.
It's true, man. It's
All
true.
Right, let's go over and take a look at it.
All right.
Go to the bit.